A repair you have to do fairly frequently on these LLVs as they get older is change the window regulator. We're going to show you how to do that. First thing you have to do is take the door off, and to get it off at the bottom you have to take the slider off. There's usually 5 bolts down in there. They get filled up with a lot of dirt and debris, so you might want to take air and blow them out so that you can use your Torx wrench and get them out. Then once you get those 5 out, the slider just comes off. Now the door will actually just swing loose. At this point you just have to slide the door back and off of the rail. Carry it over and it's time to put it up on a table. As you can see right here, the mechanism for running the regulator is all busted up, so we have to change it. Sometimes it breaks loose down in the middle. Once you get it down on the table, there's 6 rivets, the very center. You've got to grind them off with a die grinder. Just grind them off flush. Now it doesn't matter if you scar these up a little bit because the whole piece is going to be discarded. We're going to put a whole new window regulator assembly in there. Then just take a punch the rivets all the way through. Just remember when you're going to do this, make sure the window is in all the way in the up position. Otherwise when you punch that you might break the glass. The next thing to do is take all of the bolts that go along the outer edge. There's over a dozen of them, so just go all the way around the outside edge. On this little corner bracket you'll see that the rivets actually have broken out. It's one of the reasons we're replacing them. But normally there'll be 2 rivets right there you have to grind off too. If it has the original window regulator in it, when you raise it up here, there's a wire right there that you'll have to cut to get it out. Once that wire is cut, then the regulator should come out. That piece gets discarded. Now at this point the glass just needs to pull all the way down by hand so that you can get that attachment off the very bottom of it. To get that attachment off, it's just a couple of screws, Phillips heads. Just take that off and discard it. There's a little piece of foam stuck on there just as a buffer. Just scrape that off with the razor blade. Now we have to pull the weather strips out because the window regulator, new one, comes with new weather strips. They just pull out and discard them. The new weather strips come with a little adhesive protector on there. Just peel that off. Just squeeze it together and stick it in there. This area on these doors is a problem, so they've made what they call a reinforcement block to strengthen it, because that's where the crank is and it puts a lot of torque on it. The new block looks like this. When you can put this in incorrectly and have to reverse it, the key is these 4 bolts go downward, and when you turn it over here, there's 2 holes here that have to go inward because there's a piece that will screw into it this way. If you put it in like that, you'll end up having to take it back out. So keep those two holes pointing this way. Then you just slide the block in place. If you happen to have the original, it was put in with rivets. This new block comes with screws that screw down into that aluminum. Tighten them down by hand, snug, but don't go too hard because you are screwing into aluminum and you can pull them threads out. Now at this point, just leave them like this until we get everything else in place, and then tighten all the screws down once you've got them all lined up, because there's a lot of screws in here that have to fit. Comes with a little new adhesive patch strip that goes over there, just to be a buffer between the glass and the new bracket. The new glass attachment bracket comes with these plastic spacers. The spacers go up through the hole there, and then your bracket goes over the top. The screw comes in from the bottom. Those plastic pieces have to be there so that when you tighten down the screw, it won't crush and break the glass. At this point, you're ready to slide the glass back into the new weather strips and slide it all the way to the top position. Put on your window crank handle. This is what the back side of the new regulator looks like. That little roller right there is going to go into that bracket on the glass. There's a little corner bracket that you have to put in first. If you don't put this in first, you'll end up taking it all back apart again. There's a little back piece there that has the thread in it, and then you put your bracket with screws. Now, since the threads are in the piece that's back behind, just screw these in, but just leave them loose at this point until we get everything in place. At this point, you can see that little roller on the back of the regulator has got to go into that track. Probably going to disappear. You won't be able to see it, but that's what has to happen. Move the crank handle. You can see when you're cranking the crank handle, you can try and get it to go right into that track. At that point, you've got everything all squared up. Start all of your screws that go around the outside. That's why you leave them all loose, because there's so many to get started. Get all of your screws started around the outside edge. And you've got 2 screws to start on the other side of this corner bracket that goes into that aluminum block. Once you get all the screws started so they're ready to thread in, just start tightening them all down. But on the block here where it's aluminum, be sure and put them in with just by hand. At that point, you're ready to stand the door up. Put the rollers in the upper track. Then you put your bottom track in, the bolts, and then you're all done.
That's pretty much it.